Rev up your engines!
Mirko Del Carpio says, what is the worst car sold in America? I'd have to say the Fiats. You know, Fiat bought Chrysler, and then they started selling the Fiats with the Chryslers, and their sales are now so crappy that they're even considering pulling the Fiats out of the United States and just putting Fiat engines and stuff into Chryslers and calling them Chryslers, but not even trying to sell the Fiats anymore because they're such junky cars, and they have such a bad reputation in the United States from the past. Anyways, everybody calls them, fix it again, Tony, because they're always breaking. And I had a few customers that did buy the Fiats in the last 3 years, and they were all piles of junk, and the people got rid of them and said, I'll never buy another Fiat the rest of my life. Anthony Torres says, Scotty, what's your opinion on a Volvo 242 1982 K-Jetronic? Those things were tanks. Back in the day, I had quite a few customers that had those 242s. They could run forever if you took care of them. They were solid, reliable cars, and they had a lot of power even though they didn't have a gigantic engine in them. And they rode quite well. Of course, being a Volvo, they were extremely safe inside too. Now, of course, if you're talking about buying one now, sheesh, you're talking about buying what, a 37-year-old car, and you're taking, you know, your life in your hands driving around a 37-year-old car. You never know what's going to break when they're that old. The rubber, the brakes, everything's going to be going at any second. But they were really solid built cars back in the day. Kelly Blender says, Scotty, what's your opinion on trading my 97 Jeep Cherokee XJ for a Toyota 4Runner? Well, if you can trade it and get an even trade, go right ahead, because that 4Runner will outlet that Jeep. It'll last so much longer than a Jeep. They're so much better made than what the Jeeps are. Odds are you're going to have to pay more money, so it just depends on how much money you want to pay, or if you can find some fool that wants a Jeep and give you a 4Runner, take advantage and take the 4Runner, give him the Jeep. Steve Lee says, Scotty, I have a squeaky noise from the wheels. It stops when I brake. Wheel bearings or brake pads? That's normally brake pads, because the brake pads have what are called squealers on them. Prongs that stick out just a little bit above when you're down to metal and metal on the pads. So when you're just driving, they drag and squeak, but as soon as you step on the brakes, they push so hard that the noise stops because it pushes them out of the way. Just pull off the wheels, look at the brake pads, and if they're, you know, thin as a dime, you know it's time to replace them. Now, occasionally wheel bearings can make noises, but generally wheel bearings won't squeak. When they wear, they roar, and the faster you go, the louder a roar. You're going 30, they go roar, and then you're going 50, they go roar, they get louder. They don't generally squeak. G. Romero, hey Scotty, opinions on a 96 Ford Ranger. Those old pickups can last a long time. They're smaller pickup. They're not like a big F-150 for hauling tons around, but they can last a long time, especially if they're standard transmissions. They can be pretty bulletproof with the standard transmission. Their weakest point is the automatic transmission. Hey, if it's a 96 and it's still driving down the road and running, it'll tell you something. You're talking about what, you know, 23-year-old vehicle and it's still running strong? Yeah, it's pretty solid build, a lot of them. David Hallman says, I got an 06 Cadillac DTS V8 Northstar, 130,000 miles for $2,700. Okay, well that's not much money, but it's a Northstar engine and it's a 13-year-old Cadillac. If you're planning on driving 20,000 miles a year or so, don't buy it. It'll bankrupt you. But if you want it as kind of a toy weekend car, go ahead. That's hardly any money, and if it runs good now, but before you put any money down, have a mechanic check the head gasket. I've got a video that shows how to tell if your head gasket's blown. You can watch that. The kit costs $35 on Amazon, and it'll tell you if the head gasket's blown. If the head gasket's blown, you walk, because do a head gasket job on that thing is like a $5,000 to $7,000 job, and you wouldn't want to buy it then. You want to check that first. Christian Ivanov says, Scotty, my 1990 Mazda Miata's aluminum oil pan is stripped. Did I try to rethread it and put a larger bolt in? Why, yes, because aluminum is soft. It's pretty easy to rethread them. They have kits just for those aluminum things. The first thing I do is get yourself an oversized drain plug that's self-threading. I fixed one, I don't know, about 3 months ago on one, and it worked great. I went to AutoZone and I said, hey, can you get me these oversized self-threading oil drain plugs for this Mazda? They said, sure. They had one in the back, and they got it to me, and I put it in, and I screwed it in, and then I screwed it out, and then any threads would come out, and then I screwed it back in again and filled it up, and away you went. Aluminum pushes out to the side, unlike steel. And so a lot of times you won't even get any particles coming out. But even if you get a few particles, when you take it out, they'll all drain out when you put a quart of oil in it, come out of the bottom, and then you can put it back in again. I've done lots of them that way. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.